All right, today we're going to tackle a really big idea, a concept that, believe it or not, connects everything from a simple snowflake all the way up to consciousness itself. It's a principle that might just be one of the most fundamental things about our universe. We're talking about the necessity of emergent phenomena. So let's kick things off with a question, kind of like a puzzle. How in the world do really simple things, just following a few basic rules, end up creating all the breathtaking complexity we see around us? I mean, just think about a snowflake, right? It's just water molecules, but they somehow organize into these incredibly intricate, one-of-a-kind patterns. Or hey, what about our own brains? You've got these simple neurons just firing away, and somehow that gives rise to the entire rich tapestry of consciousness. How does that happen?
Well, it all comes down to that old saying you've probably heard a million times. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And look, this isn't just some nice philosophical quote. It's a real, fundamental process happening all around us. It's the how. It's how these simple little pieces, just following their basic instructions, can build themselves up into something completely new, something way more complex. And that, right there, is what we call emergence.
Okay, so let's put a more formal name to this. We're going to break down this whole phenomenon of emergence. And what you're going to see is that it completely changes how you view reality. It shows us that the world isn't just one flat thing. It's actually built in all these different, distinct, but totally interconnected layers. So here it is, the textbook definition. And the words to really focus on here are high-level regularities. See, we're not really worried about what one single tiny component is doing on its own. It's all about the new, predictable patterns that emerge. See, there's that word again. But only when a whole bunch of them get together and start interacting. Okay, let's make this really concrete. Think about a rock. You can't explain why a rock is hard by just looking at one single atom. That doesn't make any sense, right? Hardness is a property that only shows up, that only emerges, when billions of atoms are interacting in a certain way. And it's the exact same thing with fire. You can't understand a flame by studying one molecule of wood and one molecule of oxygen. The fire itself, the flame, the heat, the light, that's the emergent phenomenon. That's the high-level pattern. Okay, now this is where the idea gets really, really mind-bending. Because emergence isn't just another layer we add to our understanding of things. No, it has the potential to completely flip our entire perspective on how the universe is even put together in the first place. See, for centuries, the way we've done science has mostly been this bottom-up model. The idea is pretty straightforward, right? The thinking was, if we can just understand the absolute tiniest particles and the fundamental rules they follow, then we can just build our way up. We can explain everything else, chemistry, biology, even psychology. Start small, and the big picture will take care of itself. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's not that simple? The source material we're looking at throws out this absolutely stunning alternative. Just listen to this idea. What if the relationship isn't just a one-way street from the bottom up? What if the high-level patterns we see in the universe, the big stuff, don't just come from the low-level rules, but they actually reach down and help shape what those rules are? And this is what we'd call the top-down model. Just imagine for a second that these big, high-level principles, things like the laws of thermodynamics or even the basic requirements for life to exist, imagine them acting like powerful constraints. They're setting the boundaries, they're drawing the lines on the playing field, and the fundamental laws of physics have no choice but to operate inside those boundaries. So why does any of this matter? Well, for one, it could be a key to unlocking some of the deepest mysteries in physics. Take the fine-tuning problem. That's the big puzzle of why the fundamental constants of our universe, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, seem so perfectly, exquisitely dialed in to allow for life. If you follow a top-down model, well, maybe it's not some crazy accident. Maybe the very existence of complex things like us required those constants to be exactly what they are. The outcome shaped the rules. Okay, so let's bring this idea down from the clouds of theoretical physics and apply it to something we can all relate to. Knowledge, the very act of learning and discovery. Because it turns out that our ability to understand the world, to build science, is, you guessed it, completely powered by emergence. That's right, the creation of knowledge is, itself, an emergent process. It was never about understanding every single particle in the universe. It's always been about spotting, identifying, and then understanding the high-level patterns, the emergent phenomena in the world all around us. And this process has been going on forever.
Think about it. Knowledge really started with our genes, encoding these basic rules of thumb for survival. They didn't know anything about quantum physics, but they knew about high-level emergent realities like predator and food. Then you fast forward to early humans, and what did they do? They learned to control and use emergent phenomena like fire. And that brings us to today, where modern science is basically the process of explaining one emergent layer of reality after another.
So, here's the absolute crucial takeaway here. Without emergence, science as we know it would be impossible. It just couldn't exist. Can you imagine if you had to understand the state of every single water molecule to understand a rainstorm? We get absolutely nowhere. The world's layered structure is what allows us to make progress. It's why biologists can create amazing theories about life without first having to solve quantum gravity. Each layer gives us a new place to stand, a new stepping stone for knowledge.
And all of this leads us to the final, and honestly, maybe the most profound implication of this whole idea. It's a concept that points towards a truly infinite potential. And here it is, the central idea from the material we're drawing from. Emergence isn't just some neat feature of the world. It is the engine that drives endless discovery. It's called a beginning of infinity because for every single layer of reality we manage to understand, there are potentially infinite new patterns, new complexities that can emerge on top of it.
Just let that sink in for a minute. Think about what that really means. Our minds, our science, our ability to even have this conversation and explain these ideas. This isn't something that's separate from the universe, looking in from the outside. No, it is an emergent phenomenon that grew out of the universe. It's almost like through all of this layered complexity, the cosmos itself has developed a way to become self-aware, a way to understand itself.
And so that leaves us with one final big thought to chew on. We've seen these layers build up. Physics gives way to chemistry, which gives way to biology, which gives way to consciousness. So with everything we're doing now, our global technology, our interconnected society, artificial intelligence, are we, right now, in the middle of creating an entirely new emergent layer of reality? And if we are, what is that going to look like? That's something to really think about. Thanks for tuning in.